what's the shadow purpose? Well, that's the big question. Shadow purpose basically means that there's a shadow lurking in the idea toward what comes from desire. Meaning that if you understand what your desire will give to you, you understand all the paths that come from it. And for that you make a choice. You make a choice on your own benefit or lesser benefit, but not self-sacrifice. Not to insult someone, just to mention that, because that is always a debate of some people, this altruism debate, I know that. And even empiricism, meaning that someone who is in a better place is worth more, or better said, if something holds a higher value morally, you should sacrifice then yourself to it, which doesn't make much sense to me. Moral is unabidable, justice is unabidable, it only needs to be abided to its idea. It's fundamental truth. So what do I mean with shadow purpose? Well, it has a lot to do with paths, meaning the one path, one desire you choose to make your next desire chooses the way you can move. And then how fast forward you can go. Meaning, as long as you stay on the right tracks, you can move on the desires you choose or have chosen. That means you bring something in the world. You make a change by every action you do, and that's Shadow Christ. You sacrifice a part of you in every idea, in every value, in every part of your life to the change in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. This must be a famous quote. I think so. And I think it is. And that's basically what it's about. If you want to change something in the world, you are already doing that. You're changing something in the world. By every step, every decision you make, even if it's not worth of something to you, or to moral value, or to any value, you do make choices. You do make difference. Or differences. Meaning, the biggest problem is, what are you willing to go through, or going to, better said. What are you willing to sacrifice in your life to not do self-sacrifice, but not bring the choices about that will bring about sin. Bad concept. Well, it is a bad and dark concept. Shadow Christ says every desire gives you a path, a laid out shadow, where the light reflects. It brings out a purpose. It's your choice, which non-color you choose. Meaning, sin is very much the same, but very much different. I said, sex is a sin, because it makes all sins possible. Once you sexually engage in something, you need to carry that cross on your own. It's no one else's cross. It's your pleasure. Very important when it comes to sin. For everything else you can argue someone should help you about it, or avoid it. But if you murder someone, it's also your choice. That's why 3 things really don't go. Murder, rape, and will pose. Meaning, imposing your will on someone else. Because for that you take the Shadow Christ away, and once the Shadow Christ is dead, your pathway is gone as well. You negated the concept. So why is the Shadow Christ so important? Whoa. You are yourself, the Christ, in your own life. And there we come to sin. Sin is a concept that is very, very difficult to explain. And it's not God-made. God didn't impose sin on you. Not the devil. No, yourself. It's a very much true concept. It's not that someone is guilty of it. I saw that on a video. I need to refer to it here. But sin is a very much difficult concept. I will not try to explain it without any influence, which I think will be possible, because you can make yourself forget parts even of your knowledge. You can make yourself forget if you never got that. You can check that by what I do right now. I do it with an object. I don't know. How many lighters I hear myself around you? 3, 4, actually 5. How many lighters I don't know. What was I talking about? Lighters, sin, Shadow Christ. Oh yeah, it's absorbable. No, it's not. So sin is a very much difficult concept. It's very much difficult to explain. It's a concept that brings about something. It doesn't bring about any idea in you, anything whatsoever. That's fairly irrelevant to my mind, to my mind and our mind. But besides the point, because sin is a very much difficult concept. Sin is a concept that doesn't impose or expose itself on you. It's just present. Just really present. Just really, really present. And that's basically the best explanation if you know Shadow Christ. It's the best explanation if you know it. Because to explain it to a kid is sin. It's a tremendous sin. You cannot explain it to a kid. It's illegal. For good reason. You cannot explain it to a kid. That's why I wish to you, not really. So I tell you, don't show this video to a kid if it's a sufficient explanation, which it will be, most likely, to a degree. It's blocked for kids on YouTube. Don't show it to kids. It's not for them. Won't. You need to explain it though, just like everyone needs to. This video needs to be explained on YouTube. But if it's not for kids, it's not bad for kids. Won't. It's not possible otherwise. And this concept needs to be explained in the world. Christianity is so widespread, or maybe even the Epsilon religion, meaning the dark religion. The darkest, not Satanism, but darkest religion. Maybe that is even better in the world. So sin, to be explained, is very necessary. It's very much necessary. Very, very much necessary. Could be, but that doesn't need to be, 100%. So, the problem is that sin is a very, very dark concept. And just because you signed up to some object or something else, doesn't mean you cannot get free of that. That's irrational to believe. But you can also not overthrow God for something, or try to overthrow God or the ones who save you for that they save you. That's rational and logical. 100%. Because your choices are your choices. No one can make you do different choices. And that's true. Because you will always find a way out of the mechanism to save you. 100%. If there are angels above that save you, that give you something, a path ahead that is almost uncheatable, you will find a way out of it. If you want to, if you truly want to. Not to disprove it, just because you see that it should be possible to your own mind, because you want anarchy. Otherwise you would still have a path back. But it still needs to be explained. It's fairly rational to not believe them. So don't show this video to someone who doesn't want you to know some sin, not some, but especially not kids. Punkt. Kids, if you're watching, watch huai. So, kids, if you're watching, watch huai, because sin is bad. So basically, sin is a fairly irrational concept. It's not irrational because it is believed to be irrational. It's a rational concept because it doesn't impose itself on you. It's just present. Sin is just present, but not present. It's fairly logical to know. So basically, I will try to explain and give my best explanation of the concept, which doesn't need to be held accountable for any, but the truth, but also not the ultimate truth. Point. So let's start. Sin is basically that. If you understand that the nature you are is of your own choosing, your own desire, and the desire is from you, then you understand that every choice you make is a pathway in the Shadow Christ, meaning the willingness you are the sacrifice to keep yourself awake. And sin makes you go to sleep. It makes you go not know. Bad. Because sin is what's something that's not a present. It's not a present, it's not a tree that you can climb on, but it must be a tree that you can fall off very much down. And that's the point. Sin is something that will impose itself on you. It's very, very bad. And what it is actually is difficult to explain. Because sex, for example, is a sin. It makes sin possible. But only later you need to pay for it. Very much pay for it. There are different ways to pay for it. But they always involve a cross on your own. It's your cross you need to bear. Now the problem is that sin is something else. Um, sin is a very much present concept, but as said, it's not a gift. It can be a gift if you know how to work with it, but not how to work on people with it, or impose it, or use it. You need to work against it. It's not the flesh we're battling against, it's ghost, it's spirit. The flesh is just a mere symptom. Very much important. Because basically, sin is such case that the abyss inside you is a sign. And there we come to sin. Very much bad and dark concept. Very much dark concept. 100% dark concept. That's why you should not show it to anyone who doesn't want to know it. So, sin, especially in kids, is the concept, but not really. It's a pathway in life. It's when the shadow Christ manifests, when your desires are spoken through the light. But it's really not a mirage. Really not. It's not colorful. And it's not a, well, sin. And really not a painting. It's not something you can work with like this. You can know it and then work against it. But if you're a kid, you're protected from it and you shall be protected from it. It's very important. You may sin to a degree and don't really be bad because that's sin. But if you're not really bad, they really call something onto you. Because, you know, the stars above, they don't shine if you just know what they are. 100% true. So, sin is something really weird. And that's where it comes to be. The pathway in life diverge in such a way that you cannot understand your own self anymore. And if you choose against life, then you can say sin is someone else's fault. But it's rarely irrational. More rational than the concept. So basically, I will not sin. I don't like sin. That's another good concept. You can get almost free from it, but it's besides the point. 100% besides the point. Because basically sin is... Never mind. Never mind. It's irrational. The shadow of Christ then manifests to your idea, reflects, but not like a painting, not like color. It doesn't damage, but does damage a lot. It's not like a car accident. It's really much more like fire that doesn't want to be seen or anything. But it doesn't like you. Sin doesn't like you. It also doesn't hate you. But that's the point. It's very irrational because once you know the story, you don't want to read the story. No. And if you know the end of the story, why go through it? Even though it will not be necessarily bad. It can be a fairy tale, but a fairy tale is nothing without magic. So, nothing without magic. Nothing without circle. So, basically, sin will always derive. Derive? No. meaning it will decide which path you take.